Discovery, go and throttle up.
Did you enjoy your spaghetti music? He adored Hawaiian Punch. Wow, you just kind of snuck up on me there. I think you are underestimating the sneaky. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. How are you? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. We are here for more cities. Big old cities. What? Have you allied with the Greeks yet? Wrong game. Wrong game. Stuart, what's up? Hey, real quick. Now I got a dumb question. If Fish and Wildlife are concerned about pad suppression, then why can SpaceX do the test without any problems? Yeah. I mean, Sawyer, they wouldn't unless their environmental assessment of the situation was just clean up your mess from the first one and go, which seems to be the case. Fellas, soon. I'm pretty sure. They wouldn't be doing this stuff and they wouldn't have deluged it if the Fish and Wildlife Service wasn't cool with it. Right? We went and looked at the PEA. We did that Space News where we went and looked at the damn thing. It's all about the deluge system and changes based off of the IFT-1 mission. So I think, honestly, look. See all the tire tracks? Tire tracks out there in the sand? The Fish and Wildlife Service has been out there picking stuff up. They're out there with SpaceX picking up all the crap. So wet dress rehearsal, sound suppression or pad deluge test. Put 2 and 2 together. Where launches I would say sometime next month. It's going to be before the end of the year. They wouldn't be doing all this if it weren't close. It's a dead giveaway. I'm not sure when. I don't know. Maybe at this rate, like, I mean, the closest it could be is like a week or 3 weeks. But once again, if you look at IFT-1, they did the wet dress rehearsal and the flight test came up right after that. Like, it was very close. So, are we thinking the wildlife people are happy with things now? Wolfie, I'm starting to think that the whole thing with the Fish and Wildlife Service was just clean up your mess from the first launch. I'm pretty sure it had nothing, well, not nothing, but I'm pretty sure it didn't really have much to do with the deluge system. I think because the deluge system was already in the nomenclature on the programmatic assessment from the first one, right? We looked that up. I think they're literally like, yeah, could you just not like throw concrete into the wildlife refuge? Yeah, if you could just go pick that up, that'd be great. Which makes perfect sense. I'd go for October 31st or November 5th. Let's be real. It's going to launch on a weekend, right? Like, it's going to launch on a weekend because frick my time, right? I want that job picking up rocks. Yeah, right? Someone gets paid to just go pick up rocks and stare at Starship all day. You know, you've heard the phrase touch grass. But have you tried picking up rocks? Nature people like to do that. Yeah. Hey, Hooded, what's going on? So, yeah, fellas, I think we are... Once again, they wouldn't have done a wet dress rehearsal. Wet dress rehearsal is basically where they fuel the whole thing up to test the fueling systems. You can see those 2 white lines there. They're actually not white. Those are metal. They look white because they're covered in frost from all the cold propellants, right? They wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't going to happen soon. Also, this shot is completely absurd. Just want to point out. I mean, that is a beast mode of a launch vehicle. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Notice to marine traffic for the 6th. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and clear my schedule for that week. For rocket launch activities, boy. What's the goal of this launch? Get up there. Julie, that's it. Get up there. Get the thing into space. That's the mission. Make orbit is the mission. Everything else is a bonus from there. Yeah, you weren't that far off, so yeah. This thing is insane, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous. Starship must into space. That's right. I just want to point out, this is going to be another some of EJ's fun facts. Starship's second stage, so the Starship itself is bigger than most rockets' first stages. Yeah. It's like almost as big as an S1C, a Saturn V first stage. And there's this really awesome picture. There's this really famous picture of von Braun sitting next to an S1C. And that is probably the best picture that I know of that conveys the absolute scale of one of these things. Yeah, here's the picture. It's right off of Wikipedia, but yeah, there you go. Starship is as big as that thing. It's a little smaller in diameter, but that's pretty much the same size. And von Braun was not a short man either. He was 6 feet tall. So for the Euro people, 6 feet is... He's like 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", or something like that. That's like 190 centimeters.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
He was not a small person. He was actually pretty tall for the time. And he looks like a child compared to the rocket. So your line of thinking is correct, which I think it is. Then there's another good reminder to not overthink some hidden agenda between regulatory tape. It's Occam's razor, right, Admiral? Just literally, okay, pick up your mess from the first one and go. Makes sense. That makes sense to me. Like, there's no reason that you can't be clean and treat the environment right and also do awesome industrial things. There's no reason you can't do that. In fact, the best mess is the one you don't make, right? So don't make a mess next time. Hey, Mad, 16-month resub. There is no try, only do. I also think that Bill Gerstenmaier testifying to the Senate subcommittee may have got some heads rolling. Did you guys see that? Did you see that testimony? It was, yeah. Here, I'll show you. What he said is pretty damn funny, actually. It's, he's 188. Thank you, Clayton. I touched grass. This is exactly why we should have left out the patio furniture. I told you it was nice out. Let me find the right one. Let me just make sure that this is the right thing. Give me 1 second. Here, listen to this real quick. I got the audio. Listen real quick.
Starship has been ready for its next flight test for more than a month, but we are waiting for an FAA license and accompanying interagency review. The Office of Commercial Space Transportation, known as AST, must recognize where the industry is, where the industry is going, and its role in regulating this emerging industry. Promote, encourage, enable, and protect public safety. This was Congress's direction to the Commercial Space Act when it was written. To do this, the pace of American regulation must match the pace of American innovation. We are falling behind.
Thank you. I very much agree, and I think that is objectively correct. But
keep
pull
listening
on this thread. Articles in the Washington Post and Ars Technica yesterday discussed how SpaceX has been ready for its second Starship launch for weeks, but is now apparently waiting on the Fish and Wildlife Service, who, just to be crystal clear,
listen, Mad.
They don't launch rockets. But Fish and Wildlife needs to finish its consultation next month. I can't help but be concerned that bureaucratic red tape at AST and Fish and Wildlife and from other agencies have injected themselves into the launch licensing process.
This gets a little spicy. A little spicy.
All of these agencies have already conducted and approved an environmental review for the first launch of Starship. But since SpaceX is going to keep trying, now the federal government wants to do another entirely duplicative environmental review. Do you think other agencies' involvement is speeding up or slowing down SpaceX's ability to test, launch, and iterate vehicle development?
You can say whatever you want about him, Tessa. You can say whatever you want about him, Tessa, but at the same time, he represents a district that has Johnson Space Center, or, well, he represents a state that has Johnson Space Center in it. You cannot like the guy with other things, but that question, he basically just softballed the question to Gerst about how this is stupid and how they need to go faster, which, here, listen to what Gerst says. You'll like it. Can I get a link to this? Yeah, sure. Yeah, give me 1 second. I lost my spot.
Needs to finish its from other agency review for the first launch of Starship. But since SpaceX is going to keep trying, now the federal government wants to do another entirely duplicative environmental review.
See, this is my favorite thing about space. One of my favorite things. It doesn't matter where your, like, what letters next to your senator or representative's name. They're all gung-ho about space. That's why I think it's funny. They all march lockstep because space is awesome and it generates tons of money for their congressional districts. It's true. Yeah, I mean, if you want to assume the latter is the one that's true and not anything else, I mean, space is pretty awesome. But also, I'd like to point out that, you know, regardless of what you think about the people that are talking, they are doing their job. That is what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to fight for the people in your state and district. And arguing for more space is good for that. That is a good thing. That's what we want. You know, everybody likes to pull everybody apart. I say, no, screw that. Screw that when it comes to space. That's complicating the situation. All right? That's complicating the situation. We don't want that. We don't want space to be an issue, right? Because then stuff like Constellation getting canceled happens. We don't want this. No, we want. Here, listen.
Do you think other agencies' involvement is speeding up or slowing down SpaceX's ability to test, launch, and iterate vehicle development?
I mean, it's a shame when our hardware is ready to fly and we're not able to go fly because of regulations or re-review. The fact that we can get the launch pad repaired and get it ready to go fly, support a flight, the fact that I can get a vehicle manufactured and ready to go fly. We have 3 or 4 other vehicles also ready to go fly. The pace of our test flight should not be governed by the regulation. We need to be safe. We need to protect the environment. We don't dismiss those, but we need to fly at the fastest pace that we can do hardware development to do this active development process and this test flight experience that we've described.
Well, again, I agree with that. At AST's current speed, what's the earliest HLS will be ready?
It's hard to say. We've got it, you know, we need to fly at the fastest pace. To be fair, we also have huge technical challenges, right? This is a large spacecraft we're building. You got to see it when you went down to Boca. It's an amazing vehicle. With 33 engines, the staging, all this is new technology. We need to test that soon, learn what's wrong, fix it, and go fly again. And we cannot be held up by regulation. So it's hard for me to give a specific date of where we are, but the current pace where regulation is driving, that should not be the case. The burden should be put on us as a private company, put on SpaceX, and let us develop at the fastest pace. We should be the ones that are driving the development, not being driven by regulatory oversight.
Thank you, Gerst. So the guy that was testifying to Ted Cruz there is Bill Gerstenmaier. Bill Gerstenmaier was the head of NASA's human spaceflight operations for a very long time. He left in 2018, and he was replaced by Doug Lavero, who, that didn't end well. Whoops. He was like, he helped run the shuttle program for what it's worth, and he's worked for NASA for probably like 40 years, like the entirety of the shuttle program. That dude knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to reflying spaceships and reusing stuff, because he worked on the shuttle program. Now I know what he worked on the shuttle program. No, he left NASA in 2018, and he's SpaceX's Vice President of Flight Operations, or Flight Reliability. SpaceX literally made a job for him because they wanted his expertise on reusing spacecraft. Now, it's funny because, you say he worked on the shuttle program, the shuttle's never reusable. Well, Gerst himself has said in interviews, Bill Gerstenmaier, in interviews, he said himself that the shuttle we could have flown it faster. We didn't, because some bonehead in middle management decided it would be safer to take the rocket engine apart and put it back together every time. They thought at the time that would improve reliability. Well, it turns out that no, it doesn't. It actually statistically does not do that. It's like a car motor. How good would a car motor be if you had to take it apart every time and put it back together after every trip to the grocery store? That makes no sense. He's testified that the shuttle program could have been effective. And this is somebody that ran the damn thing for like the last part of the shuttle program, like the last couple of years. He was like basically running the thing, right? That guy is now working for SpaceX, and that's the guy that just gave the testimony. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to reusable spacecraft. He's probably the foremost expert on reusability in the world right now. And he's helping them with Starship. And on top of all that, he's testified to Congress many times through the course of the shuttle program. He's very good at speaking Rule 8, as you can tell, getting the point across. Very good, man. He's probably thinking, oh, not this crap again. Yep. Yeah, it's possible. Gerst also has probably one of the coolest mustaches known to man. Yep. That's a guy that's seen some stuff. He's seen some stuff. Aren't drag racing engines torn down and rebuilt every time? Yeah, sure. Yeah, Thrasha, because they're designed to work at the ragged edge. The shuttle engines were not designed to do that. The shuttle engines were underperforming pretty much the whole time. That's why they were able to squeeze more performance out of them during the tenure of the program. Raptor engines are the same way. You basically, if you take a rocket engine that can produce like 3,000 kilonewtons of thrust and you rate it 100% of thrust at 2,500 kilonewtons of thrust, right? 100% of rated thrust is nowhere near breaking the motor. You're not pushing anything to the ragged edge there, right? Why do you think Elon is so vehemently obsessed with pushing Raptor 2 to its absolute limit? It's not, I mean, it's pretty damn impressive what it's doing, first of all, but the second part about that is to improve reliability. If you have an engine that's designed to, like I said, designed to operate at 3,000 kilonewtons of thrust and you're at 2,000 the entire time, and then you flight rate the engine at 2,000, it's never going to break. It's never going to break. It's like a car engine that's idling versus one that's at redline. It'll just sit there all day. It won't be, no problem. Right? It's smart. And what I'm saying, what Bill is saying regarding the shuttle program is that the shuttle engines are built like that. The shuttle engines were built for 50 flights. 50 flights without ever needing to be taken apart. Aerojet Rocketdyne didn't screw up that hard. You don't build an engine that's rated for 55 flights and then end up having to rebuild it once after every reflight, right? Nobody misses the engineering mark that hard. Not even close. So, two things come out of this. First of all, Bill Gerstenmaier knows what he's talking about, and it's funny that he's going and saying it in a Senate testimony, saying they need to increase the flight rate, and it's they can be trusted to push the boundary by themselves and be a good environmental steward, which, I mean, okay, prove that, please. And second of all, he vindicates the shuttle program every time he talks, which makes me very happy. That makes me very happy. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, let's play some cities. I like that. Please, tell me more about how the shuttle could have been flying at the rate of Falcon 9. Please, feed me. Hey, Failures. Mrs. Failures. With a 50-monther and Denny with a 65er. Thank you. Exactly. If there's an event where they needed to go 103, maybe you should take a look at the engines before they fly again. Otherwise, just keep a regular check on schedule. They could have done that with the shuttle program, and they were going to do that with the shuttle program, but then Challenger happened, and somebody thought it'd be safer to take the engine apart every time, which is the definition of idiotic. Aqualux, I think that's why they're pushing Raptor to be I think that's why they're pushing Raptor to be as crazy as it is, so they never have to worry about the thing breaking during a mission. I think it's institutional trauma from Challenger. Yeah, pretty much, Beefy. Tiles failed and they blame the engine? No, Thumpard. It's a little more complicated than that. Exactly, passing. Yep. Do I have that link? Yeah. It's... Yeah, here. I just searched it, so it's actually in Spanish, but there you go. There are other people that posted it, but yeah. Anyway. Alright. Cities. Let's do this. So... we played it yesterday for the first time, and it did bug out, and we started a new save. And I must say that once we started the new save, it got to be 11 p.m. before I knew what was going on, which bodes very well. Need help. About to set my crate up. Can you go back and map history and see where the fuel tanks would be in this location for you? Huh? What? Goalie, what is this? Need help. About to set my crate up. Can you go back and map history and see where the fuel tanks would be in this location for you? Fuel tanks. I can't do it on your phone. Yeah, I got you, man. What are we working on here? Front, goalie. Look at the concrete. Here, I'll back it up just to be sure. Yep, right there. See the fuel truck? It's front of the building. Yeah, there are definitely tanks down there. They just, well, I mean, actually, I don't know, dude. Yeah, see the fuel truck? Dead giveaway. There's your fueling umbilicals right there. So there's 3 tanks. 1, 2, and 3. And they feed the pumps. So looks like 3 rows of pumps. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, the truck's right there. It's right up front, dude. Yeah, see? There you go. Take a look. 3 umbilicals, 3 fuel tanks right there. Probably for 3 different rows, if I had to guess. What's this? Goalie needs help setting up his crane in real life. This is touching grass now, fellas. Hey, nice car. What do we got now? What does the site look? Oh, jeez. All right, let me back it up. Let me take a look here. See, goalie, I'm trying to think. Oh, looks like it got COVID. It got COVIDed. I'm trying to think. Did they just pave over everything, or? I mean, goalie, from what I can tell here, dude, this looks to be big enough that they dug the tanks out. They may have had to because of environmental regulations. You can't just leave the tanks in there, I'm pretty sure. Exactly, Hellfish. That's what I'm saying. It looks like they got removed. But there were 3 tanks along this wall right here. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, front. And then your tanks are right there, and then the electrical is right there. See that? That's the electrical for the pumps. If I had to guess. I don't know for sure. I mean, it's possible. It could be, the wires could have been from the mini mart over there. One sec, picture inbound. You're allowed not to, but people in reality lie about it all the time. I mean, yeah, it's a pain in the butt, that's why. And you gotta line the tanks too. Aqualux, like a fuel station, you really gotta do a lot of stuff nowadays. I know this from my uncle who's a GC. He does all kinds of stuff. He's telling me, yeah, you gotta like line the tanks, because if they rupture, people are gonna get mad. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I would say just because of the depth of this hole, this has absolutely been just completely excavated out. Yeah, for good reason. I mean, gasoline in the water table is probably not a good thing. I mean, regardless of how you think about the environment, if somebody's tapping well water, I'm pretty sure they don't want their drinking water to be flammable. I mean, amongst other things. Like, there's you know, there's being a tree hugger, and then there's just not being an idiot, right? Like, that's, you know, kind of important. Goalie, what do you got? Where that Chevy is parked is where the... Oh. Oh, this got torn up, dude. Hold on. Yeah. Let me take a look. See the cap? Tanks are right where that Chevy is, and right where this intermodal is, where the TEU is. The tanks were right there, so between the porta potty and here. Goalie, what are you doing? What are you doing to this, if you don't mind me asking? Just so I can understand, like, I mean, it looks like, guys, it looks like the parking lot is all torn up. It looks like they ground up all this right here, because if you look where the see where the back of the trailer is with 2506 is? There were slabs here. You could see pieces of them right there. Yeah, see the markers? The plumbing's still down there, dude. The plumbing is still down there. They wouldn't mark it if it wasn't. And there's a cap right there. See the cap? If they did leave the tanks in there, if they did leave them, they usually leave a cap. Don't get me wrong, I could be pulling this out of my tail. Like, I don't remember all this completely. If there's one cap there, they leave. If they left the tanks there, they leave the cap to be able to check it, to monitor it, to make sure that it doesn't get contaminated. So you still have one cap right there, but the 3 tanks are 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, they left. A car wash is going in, and it will be running north. The car wash is going north-south. Okay. So you're putting in drainage for the car wash. That's what all this stuff is, guys. This is drainage. So these are drainage, what's called drainage conduits. You put them in the ground, and it works like a well. It captures all the drain water, and a car wash is going to have a lot of that. So that makes a lot of sense. See the slabs? You put these on top of there, and it basically makes a sewer for you. This is something that you do down in Florida with the concrete, right? Because of the soil. The way the soil, it's long story short, because of the way the soil is, right? The caps don't show on the newer pictures. Yeah, the photogrammetry missed it. Here, let's turn off 3D buildings. See if we can back it up a little bit. It's there. It's barely distinguishable, but it's there. See it? So I'm trying to figure out, because there's no evidence of the old tanks being pulled. Goalie, I retract my previous statement. That cap being there tells me the tanks are still in, and they're clearly marking the plumbing on the property, so you might want to be careful when you dig stuff up, if you're going to do that. Yeah, it looks like they may have slabbed over. Aqualex, I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I mean, they wouldn't have the cap there if the tank wasn't there. It's that simple. The cap do be there for real, no cap. And that's no cap. Interesting, Electron. I smell a lawsuit. It's Florida, dude. It's Florida. Like, that's the best I can do. Like, it's not an excuse, but it's Florida. I'm sure they filled the tanks with cement. Probably, Fistus, yeah. Yeah, if they did, I mean, once again, you don't leave a cap there. There wouldn't be a cap if there wasn't tanks down there. And once again, look, it's marked. Goalie, I'd call dig safe to be sure. Do you guys have dig safe down there? Or something equivalent? I would call them. Yeah, I would call them. That's just a water spot? Could just be a leftover monitoring well. That's my guess, Electron. But it could, they're monitoring the tanks. Like, I would do that just to be absolutely sure, you know. 811 is dig safe, guys, yeah. So, I don't know, if you're European, you're watching this, you're probably getting confused. 811, it's not 911 is the emergency, right? 811 is dig safe. So 811 is kind of a record of any lines or plumbing or everything. So you got to have permits to put pipes in the ground or wiring or whatever. If you call 811 and say, "Hey, I'm trying to dig here. Can you tell me if there's any gas lines here, for instance?" Because you don't want to go digging and then hit a gas line and then explosion. Nobody wants that. That's not good. Yeah. I had an old tank blow up by a place I worked at because it was kerosene or something. It got struck by lightning. Damn, dude. Yeah, Aqualex, yeah, exactly. If that wasn't disclosed to the buyer, yeah. Yeah, Goalie, I wouldn't frick around with any of this. You gotta, like, and this isn't me being like, you know, like, oh, you just being such a bitch about this. No. Don't screw around with gasoline. Like, it's one call, and yeah, people might bust your balls over it for being a wimp about it, but yeah, I mean, I don't feel like getting blown up today, do you? Like, at least I think. Let me see what else. You got another picture? Oh. You know, that might just be water. But also, water doesn't leave black residue. Where is that? Where's that going on? Yeah. Goalie, I mean, I think the crane, I wouldn't say the crane would be okay in the gravel, right? Like, If they cemented the tanks, I suppose it's okay. But yeah, before you go around, I mean, there's obviously excavators there because you're just moving the slabs, right? Like, I'd be careful. You'll be dead. I mean, might be okay. If it was me, dude, I ain't risking a $100,000 crane. And it's very clear that you guys are going to pour concrete too, because the pumper truck and the mixer are right over there. So, yeah, I would not screw around with this. Either that or that's just some guys getting coffee at the Wawa. Gas is $3.94 down there? For real? $3.94? That's cheap. It's $3.35 in Massachusetts. How is gas cheaper here? How is that? Ooh, it's ethanol free. Oh, that explains that. Oh, that's ethanol free. Okay, yeah. 10% ethanol is $3.29, which makes... Okay, that makes more sense. Got it. Cool. Yeah, go... I mean, if they cemented the tanks, you'd be good, but I'd call them to be sure. Hey, are there still tanks here? No. All right, cool, we're good. Call them. See what happens. Talked about this. You were close to the coast. Actually, Geek, you know what I noticed? Down here, down on the Cape, it's actually cheaper than it is in the city because now that it's, you know, fall into winter, because no one comes down here. We're not going to get any tourists down here for the next 8 months, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, the gas prices go down because there's less people coming to the Cape, which is pretty funny. Boston gas is cheaper than yours. It's not all bad, I swear. All right, let's go. $3.40 in Chicago. Gee, okay. $3.10 in Kansas City. Nice. All right, so this game took a dump last night when we stopped. Where's the last autosave? 22:57, 33:82. What are we at right now? Yeah, okay. Yeah, how about we load that up instead? Can you trust 811 though? Yeah, of course. Container 811 isn't some like agency that's going to charge you anything. It's just an agency that exists that's to tell you where stuff is. That's all. That's all it's there for. It's there to tell you where there's a gas line or an electrical line or a water line or something. Yeah, it's a government agency. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in this particular case, I would like in this particular case, like with that, I would call and see if somebody can pull the permits for that station to see if the tanks are there or if they're not there or if they were cemented in and stuff. Because what Goalie's worried about is you saw that concrete on the back of those trucks, right? What Goalie's worried about is putting his crane over the tanks. If the tanks are not full, if they just left them there, the crane it'll fall right through them, especially with the counterweight. It's 100,000 pounds. It'll fall right into the ground, like trapdoor style. Yeah, you don't want that. That's cranes are expensive. I mean, amongst other things. Did you figure out the bug with your taxes? I did, Fiction. I had to restart, believe it or not. Yeah, I had to restart my save. I started a new one. Basically did the same thing in the new save, but Yeah, I'll admit, you know, I was saying I had a couple of gripes with how the system works. Well, yeah, of course I did. It was broken. The game was broken. Once I got a save that actually was generating tax revenue correctly, yeah, that subsidy, that subsidy thing that I wasn't too happy about went away really fast. So that's good. But I did notice that the subsidy propped up my city when the game was broken. So that's, I mean, take that information for what it's worth, I suppose. Nope, same map, Alexis. Yep. My claim alone is 100,000 pounds. I'm importing 42,000 pounds of counterweight. Yep. That being said, 811 can't tell you what was reported to them correctly and isn't marked with locating wire. Yeah, but with a gas station, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't hurt to call. Like, what does it hurt? It'll take 5 minutes of your time. I mean, if I was hoisting or in digging or something, I would call every time. Like, I don't give a frick if, you know, oh, you don't need to. It's process optimization. No, shut up. How about you shut up and how about you let me do my job and leave me alone? I don't feel like digging out a crane, a 150,000 pound crane from a freaking 20-foot hole, right? Like, that would get really, really annoying really fast and make the job that you're already doing more complicated, right? Like, why even take the risk? But yeah, of course, there's a risk if they didn't report the tanks, right? Like it's just, you know, that stuff seems superfluous when you're on the job site, but it's definitely not. Like, and that's not something I learned from anyone. That's just me learning about processes and like controls and systems engineering. Just don't even take the chance. You'd be stupid to do that. Like, why? Why risk making the job more complicated for saving 5 minutes? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Those moments when the customers didn't do due diligence. Yep. Yeah, right. All right. Anyway, speaking of construction and contracting, let's jump into cities. So I got the train line figured out. I wanted to make a train tunnel here underneath the channel that we made, but yeah, it doesn't seem to want to do that. Could you use an ultrasound to tell if the tanks are empty? Well, Beefy, there was a cap. There's a cap in the concrete, which means they were leaving one cap means the tanks are there. Or somebody else said that it could be a well if they removed the tanks. But those slabs look like they didn't remove the tanks. The slabs from those pictures look old. The concrete. So, I'm guessing that they dug the surface up, filled the tanks with concrete, and paved over it. Did it autosave after you put the roundabouts in? It looks like there was an autosave, but I didn't finish the footpath. So this would have been probably about 30 seconds before it crashed. So, I kind of got lucky there. So, here, let's go into roads here. Let's get rid of that crosswalk. You're standing in the middle of the street. What are you doing? There we go. That's where I left off last night. Save. How are the editing controls so far? It's the same as cities. What the frick? Why would you do that? Hold on. Why would it game? For real. Cuboid, we need move it, please. I need the move it tool badly. Is that ramp ADA compliant? Of course it is. Alright, so let's figure out what's on the on the pulse here. So these guys are not getting much business right there. Actually noticed a pretty handy thing when you're zoning commercial. This legend right here will say where commercial suitability is, right? And it'll tell you customers based off of the color, right? So pretty much everywhere right now is more or less good, which is interesting because those guys are, it says those guys aren't getting enough business. There's not enough customers. At least that's what I thought they were saying. Let me check, just to be absolutely sure. Lack of customers. My favorite city streamer podcaster did a hilarious architecture critique of Cities 2 with YouTuber Bisquickelhausen. In an actual architecture critic, I was pissing yourself laughing. Oh.
Or like two.
Alright. I'll see if I can queue it up, dude. My video backlog has been pretty high from stuff people want me to watch, dude, because I've been very busy lately. Wasn't this happening on your last save, too? Yeah, but it seems to be localized. I think I have too much commercial. So a way to do that would be to zone more residential. The game really wants a lot of residential. So what I'm trying to do with this city, I understand it's just grids, and it's really annoying. I'll build more creative cities later. But this city is, I just want to push the game as far as it can go. So this is just straight grid stuff. We can do more aesthetic stuff, you know, maybe later when we retool this city a little bit. Grids forever. Still an issue with schooling? Actually, no. We figured out that, you know, I was saying the student model is really stupid, but that was in the broken save. This makes a lot more sense when the game works. My one gripe, and this is kind of the conclusion that we came to, my one gripe is that you don't have a smaller school, right? The base elementary school holds 1,000 kids, and you cannot change that no matter what, which, all right, I guess. You must construct additional pylons. Right now, my city is running... Actually, I shouldn't change that because there's not a lot of demand for that. My city is running... We're still running a little bit of a deficit, but the subsidy has gone down. Most of the... Look, the bulk of our revenue is made from taxes, which is good. This is kind of how it should be. Is there any tools that were previously mods in Cities 1 that you used? In Cities 2? The tools that I use the most, Geek, are moving. That's the tool I use the most. That's done by a guy I know called Cuboid. That's not in the game. There's not move it, but like all the, I think it's called network extensions. Like all this, setting your step and everything, and showing more than just guidelines, like showing how long a road is. That's all. That was all mods, and they changed it. That's in the stock game now, which is cool. How many years are there in elementary over there? Kindergarten through 5th grade, Tessa. If I recall correctly, they hired the mod maker. So kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And then you go to middle school, which is 6, 7, 8. And then high school is 9, 10, 11, 12. Try making some custom parks, Linus? Yeah, I mean, I could. Recreation buildings to increase the attractiveness, parks and maintenance to increase the variety and size of the parks available. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could. We could always put a nice park over there, and then we could put another one right there, and then some things that I really like from cities too is that planting trees, you don't just plant a full tree. It actually takes time to plant them, which is pretty rad. I think that's cool. It takes time for them to grow. So like for instance, right here I got a bunch of houses and I put a thick tree layer in because the train tracks. Hey SpaceX, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, Escadus is right, Tessa. It varies depending on where you are. It's all tied into the forestry industry. Yeah. Actually, Geek, what I've noticed is that a lot of the stuff that was DLCs in Cities 1 found its way into stock Cities 2, which I'm very excited about. It has Industries DLC basically built into it, from what I can tell. I haven't even gotten into this yet. I'm curious to see what the farming and stuff does, though. Find natural resources. Oh, that seems to work the exact same way. I wonder how fast the oil well, the oil dries up, dries up in this. So we have, there's only certain areas that have fertile land. I always thought that the distribution of fertile land was weird, and oil wells dry up extremely fast in Cities 1. I'm wondering if it's any different. Yeah, you can build all the way out to this line, I think. The terrain is even bigger. I mean, that is a hefty amount of land. So I'm not... What the hell is this? Oh, that's a connecting port. Okay. Yeah, that's the track and field for my high school. Yeah. There is demand for high-density residential. Okay. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll expand the boulevard this way. Actually, we'll make sure we're expanding it nice and even like. That's it. Get in there nice and even like.
A driving advisory has
Point
been
1.5
issued for
come
the
out.
immediate area due to poor road
That's what I was
conditions.
wondering.
Please exercise caution if you must drive, and try to stay off the streets.
We got
until
grid
conditions
fins.
improve. This has been a local public service announcement.
Has anyone seen my keys? My keys. What? We're in here?
Oh! Sorry about that. It's, nothing important. I just lost my keys. I'm sure they'll turn up. They're for the brown sedan parked outside the radio station. Oh, wait. I shouldn't have said that if anyone finds them. Please, don't steal my car. I mean, the old Hornbuckle-mobile, please. Oh, good. Here they are. Well, never mind them.
Here's the link.
Thank you
Oh boy.
for listening to Second Move.
A housing shortage is driving up prices in the area.
That's right, Weather. But apparently that's not all good news. We're joined today by an expert guest, Professor Nutbutter.
Nut Butter is back. Oh boy, this guy's my favorite.
Bad for the people trying to move here, right?
Humans are programmed to desire certain representations within ideological reward structures, which are entirely apart from the actual rewards enjoyed. For example, consider capital.
One final question, Professor. Is the housing shortage going to make me richer?
By certain metrics, perhaps yes, in the short term.
I like the sound of that.
But what we are discussing is the study of a statistical abstraction and its effect on the human.
Thank you.
Yeah, I delete the trees because here, I saw Aqualex. I see what you're saying. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. So watch this, dude.
The commercial district is booming. As
All right.
the area is attracting.
Shut up. All right, check this out. See those 4 pieces of brush right here? If I build a road over them, they disappeared, right? You think the game deleted them, right? Oh, sweet, never have to worry about it. It stores them. They're just dormant. So they'll grow back, which no. That's extra information for your save. At least it was in Cities 1. I don't know if it is for Cities 2, but I would assume that's probably not good. I got an achievement for turning off the radio. Awesome.
Bringing the latest in luxury to our neighborhood.
Is there any point building more commercial while so many of them don't have enough customers? It depends on the location.
Or so my wife tells me.
But we could dump it, and you know what? You're probably right. Just dump it.
We'll be back after this.
The demand here is for slight industrial and slight low density. Oh, that's almost perfect. Cool. Very nice. Hang on a minute. I gotta redo some of this. About as packed as I could get that grid in there. Do you guys have healthcare coverage bugs showing red road next to the clinic? Tornado, I haven't had anything like that, but I did have a bug where my industry and commercial were not generating any taxes. I had a map that was not full, but like all this was full of industry and I was generating no money. And every shop had 1 employee. So it's clear that some polishing needs to be done here. So yeah, if you see a glitch, report it and stuff, dude. Yeah. Other than that glitch, you know, ever since, you know, that been actually okay. Yeah. It said that Joe, it said that some of my commercial isn't doing well because no customers. But if you go into the zoning map, it seems to be okay. Right? I don't see any bad suitability anywhere except maybe a little bit over here. KSP2's update is live. Oh, I want to play City. I don't know what to do. Oh no. Hey Orion, what's going on? I do have the patch notes. They were already linked. What are we looking at here? Oh yeah. Lots of good stuff. Oh, wow. Oh, where am I going to find the time to play that? Hey, Red. A raid again? Pandemonium has arrived. 50 hours of cities. Math. You're not wrong. Were you just speaking at the KSP2 patch notes? Yeah, they dropped 0.1.5. Yeah, but Math KSP is my main game. So when KSP2 comes out, here's my problem. If we're gonna talk business here, KSP is my main game. That's what I'm known for. I'm known for spaceflight streaming, right? Everyone's gonna be looking to get my fix on if the patch is good. So what I don't want to do is sit here and have half of my user base come in and be like, "Hey, have you played it yet?" And me be like, "Nah." But also at the same time, I really want to play Cities. So I'm kind of, I mean, this is not a bad problem to have, right? Like, this is not a bad problem to have. You have 2 computers, play both. I'll tell you what I do, man. Play 2 games at the same time, man. Damn straight always wanted to do that. Right, SpaceX? Yeah, split screen gaming 5-head. Nice lipstick, oh. Thank you. Unlock the Space Center and launch KSP2 rockets from it. Alright. I want to take a quick look at cities, dudes. Or not cities. I want to take a quick look at KSP. I want to check it out real quick. I'm gonna peep that patch. Then we'll jump back. We'll jump back into cities. Yeah. I really want to play cities, but I also have to check out KSP. It's weird that it seems like it's an obligation because I want to play both games. But yeah, we got to find a way to split it up. So we're gonna dive into KSP. I'll go over the patch notes and then we'll check out the game real quick, and then we'll jump back into cities.